Sadegh Hosseini, the commander of the Revolutionary Guards terrorist organization in Elam, has announced that no institution in the province is allowed to issue permits for Nowruz celebrations. He described these festivities as contrary to cultural values and stated that individuals promoting them online are being identified. Mr. Hosseini also denied reports claiming that permits had been issued for Nowruz celebrations, emphasizing that the Provincial Security Council had decided not to allow the events. He insisted that no action should be taken outside these decisions and claimed that Nowruz festivities are incompatible with religious and revolutionary culture. In recent years, the celebration of certain national and traditional ceremonies across the country has faced restrictions, with security forces intervening in some cases. In a widely shared video on social media, officers of the Islamic Republic's police force, under the pretext of pet ownership and without a legal warrant, raided a citizen's home in Tehran. During the raid, they hurled insults, assaulted the residents, searched the house, and ultimately confiscated their dogs. Azad Peykari-Far, a monarchist political prisoner held in Evin prison, was transferred to Taleghani Hospital in Tehran due to the deterioration of his physical condition following a heart attack. The attack was reportedly caused by psychological pressure and the prolonged harsh conditions of imprisonment. Mr. Peykari-Far has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. However, under Article 134 of the Islamic Penal Code, only 5 years of his sentence will be enforced for the charge of assembly and collusion with the intent to commit a crime against national security. On the evening of Thursday, February 6, security forces of the Islamic Republic raided a private garden in the city of Qatab, a district of Babol, where a gathering of Christian converts were taking place. During the raid, they arrested Somayyeh Rajabi, a Christian convert. According to reports, agents from the IRGC intelligence organization in Babol searched the gathering, confiscating religious books, musical instruments, and digital devices belonging to attendees. Around 80 people were present at the event and were met with harsh treatment by security forces. A day after her arrest, Somayyeh Rajabi was able to make a brief phone call to her family, informing them that she had been transferred to a prison in Sari. As of now, no information is available regarding the charges brought against her. Donya Hosseini, a young woman who was murdered by her father in Kermanshah on February 17, 2025, had previously been victim of sexual assault and harassment by her sister's husband, a member of the Revolutionary Guards terrorist organization. In addition to Donya, this person also abused her 17-year-old sister, but his security influence has caused the family to remain silent out of fear. According to available information, Donya Hosseini has 3 other sisters, 2 of whom were forced to marry at the ages of 12 and 13. Donya was also forced to marry at the age of 14 by her family, but after 8 years of domestic violence, she decided to divorce. This decision ultimately met with the reaction of her father, who stabbed her to death. Reports indicate that after this murder, the mother of the family tried to make it look like a suicide to avoid possible persecution. Donya's younger sister Zahra, who is 17, is in severe shock after witnessing the murder and is hospitalized. The case is an example of femicide, child marriage, and impunity of individuals affiliated with government institutions that will neither be eradicated nor reformed under the Islamic Republic. Zohre Kohnekar, known as Sepand Azar, a monarchist political prisoner currently held in Vakilabad prison, Mashhad, has chosen to boycott her phone call privileges in protest against threats and mistreatment by prison officials. Previously, she was denied visitation rights following a verbal altercation with prison guards. In a letter, she explained that after complaining about frequent phone disconnections, officers responded with disrespect and threatened to strip her of all communication privileges. In response, she voluntarily refused to use the prison's phone system as an act of protest. In her letter, she also addressed the Iranian regime, stating that their increasing acts of torture no longer instill fear in her. She shared a deeply personal loss, her sister's passing while she was imprisoned. "My sister's body has become part of Iran's soil," she wrote, emphasizing her unbreakable bond with her homeland. She contrasted the current regime's brutality with the policies of the Pahlavi era, where she noted exile to Paris was considered the harshest punishment for political dissidents. "No matter what you take from me, I willingly give it up, except for my beloved Iran," she concluded. Monday, March 3rd, retirees gathered in front of the Shiraz governor's office to protest the lack of response to their demands. The demonstrators, many of whom are pensioners relying on fixed incomes, voiced their frustration over economic hardships, inadequate pension adjustments, and the government's failure to address their grievances. Their protest is part of a broader wave of demonstrations by retirees across the country, who are calling for fair wages, better living conditions, and the fulfillment of promised financial adjustments. A group of retirees and pensioners from the steel industry gathered in Tehran to protest against their deteriorating living conditions and the flawed implementation of pension equalization policies. The demonstrators voiced their frustration over financial hardships, arguing that their current pensions fail to keep up with inflation and rising living costs. They demanded a fair and transparent adjustment of their benefits, urging authorities to address their concerns and fulfill previous commitments regarding pension reforms. The protests reflected the growing discontent among retirees, who continue to struggle for economic justice and financial stability. Retirees and pensioners from the Social Security Organization gathered in Tehran to protest against their worsening economic conditions. The demonstrators expressed their grievances over the insufficient pension payments that fail to keep up with inflation and the rising cost of living. They demanded an immediate increase in their pensions to ensure a dignified life after years of hard work. Protesters also criticized the authorities for neglecting their needs and failing to implement necessary reforms to improve their financial stability. Seasonal workers of the Haft-Tappeh sugarcane company staged a protest march demanding permanent employment status and job security. The workers, who have long faced precarious working conditions, are calling for an end to temporary contracts and greater stability in their employment. Their demonstration highlights ongoing labor struggles in Iran, particularly in industries where workers are subjected to exploitative conditions, delayed wages, and lack of benefits. Monday, March 3rd, following the football match between Taj Istiqlal and Al Nassr of Saudi Arabia, spectators leaving Azadi Stadium chanted the national slogan, "Reza Shah, rest in peace." The slogan, often used as a symbol of protest, reflects a sentiment of opposition to the current regime and nostalgia for a different era in Iran's history. The public expression of dissent highlights the ongoing political and social tensions within the country, as stadiums and sports events have increasingly become spaces for symbolic acts of resistance. Reza Shah! Reza Shah! Reza Shah!